recent questions come up, and the questions were, how long can I pay premiums, and how long should I pay premiums? And this came up mainly because people are looking at policies and they want the maximum cash value up front. How do I get that 10/90 split, for example, and be able to pay in for a long period of time and have it not trigger a mech or anything like that down the road? Is that possible? Because some just say, no, you can't do that. You're going to run into issues down the road. So it is possible, and we're going to first explain it conceptually, and then as usual, we'll prove it out with the numbers and math. So how long can I pay premiums? Let's touch on this one first. This will depend on a couple factors. One is the product. So when I have a whole life insurance product, there are lots of different policies out there. I have limited pay policies, maybe called a 5-pay, a 7-pay, or a 10-pay. If the product name is a 10-pay, that means, guess what? The longest I can pay into it is for 10 years. I can't go longer than that. So I can go shorter, but after 10 years, I cannot pay. So that would be one answer to that question. If I have a limited pay, well, however many years I'm limited to. Now, if I have a product, let's call it a life paid up at 100, what that means is literally, if I wanted to, I could pay into the policy until I'm 100 years old, so forever. But at the same time, I'm not committed to it, and we'll get into more detail on that. So we can have a product where I can pay, let's put it this way, as long as I want. To supplement that answer, if I want to pay into it for a long period of time, if someone says, hey, it's in your best interest to continue to feed the policy, which it 100% is. If we can get things right with one policy, keep feeding that thing before we look at multiple policies. But with that said, and we have past videos on this, when it comes to how long can I pay premiums, the MEC, the Modified Endowment Contract, becomes important to look at. Mainly because every 7 years, that limit tends to reset, and a lot of times it gradually decreases, depending on the policy design. So to answer the question, how long can I fund it, meaning can I get high cash value up front, fund very close to the MEC limit, and fund for a long period of time too? We're going to look at that in our next video. But on the second question, how long should I pay premiums? And I like this question because guess what? As the consumer, the policyholder, if we set everything up right, we've got control. We can answer this. How long should I pay it? Well, as long as you want. The longer I feed it, especially when I get beyond the early years, I'm past the insurance expenses. So dollars that go into premium and PUAs, where do they go? Cash value. They inflate my death benefit as well. Things get better and better. Where people that we've interacted with do not like whole life insurance are those that see the early years, no matter how well we designed it, it's a negative hit. We don't like the early years either, but that's how the product works. Then those who have fallen in love with whole life insurance, aside from the idea of borrowing and such, when they look at just their pure cash value death benefit, is really beyond the first 2 years, where I'm starting to pay money in and I see it coming back to work for me. The dividend accumulation is picking up. Things get better and better. So how long should I pay? You could answer the question as long as you can. But if I have a lump sum, do I just want to move that over a certain number of years? How long should I pay? Well, I'll answer that by saying keep your options open. Design a policy where if you want to fund it for a long period of time, maybe for 30 years, with varying amounts, you can. But if life happens and you have to stop early, well, you can do the exact same thing. You can do that. Keep your options open. This way, we're not locked down to or committed to anything. So, what we're going to look at in the next segment is this. Firstly, on the policy design, we'll touch on this frequently. When I set up a policy, my money can go where? Underlying insurance premium or PUAs. So let's build something out here. Got my cash value, and I've got my death benefit. Here's what I want to go over. End of the day, I'm going to pay any amount of money into a policy. Premium, or my PUA rider. If I can choose, because I can, where's my money going to go? Dollars that go towards premium. I'll refer to this as the insurance expense as well. We're going to go over a refresher on this, especially for those who have not seen any of our content. If I'm going to pay $1,000 per year into premium and $1,000 per year into cash, what do I want to understand? What is the relationship with those dollars? As I pull different levers, what moves my cash value? What moves my death benefit? When I understand this, I can really take advantage or use the products to their fullest. Dollars that go into the premium piece, if I'm paying $1,000 a year in with a traditional old school whole life insurance policy, relative to my cash value, in many cases, I'm going to see zero or very little cash value in the first and second year. Nothing is going to show up based again off of the base premium or insurance expense dollars. The reason why is the insurance company overcharges me for the cost of insurance up front on a whole life insurance policy. They're overcharging me in the first 2 years. That's why if I've ever seen a basic old school whole life insurance policy, nothing but premium, usually when you hit year 3, from that point forward, you see your cash value start to build up. The reason why is premium dollars, even though we hear premium, I think expense forever, but premium dollars do build cash value. It's just in the early years, the company is going to overcharge me for them. PUA rider, i.e. cash dump in. If I pay the same $1,000 per year here, firstly, the company does consider it a premium in their eyes. Dollars that go into PUAs or cash, you will see just about all of it show up in cash immediately. You will have a PUA load depending on the company. You might see $950 show up on day 1. But this is money I have access to, and money that sooner rather than later begins to yield the guaranteed rate and dividends. It accelerates the cash value of a life insurance policy. Now, that PUA stands for paid up additions. Remember, the company does consider this premium, and the reason why is it does buy us some life insurance. It depends on our age. On average, say if I pay $1,000 into the PUA component, it is naturally going to purchase me another $3,000 in whole life insurance benefit, death benefit. That's added to the initial amount. So a question we get here a lot is, how do I maximize my cash value? How do I put 0% here? Can't go quite that low. The lowest I can often go, depending on the company, is 10%. So your insurance company's limits, that's where we will refer to that 10/90 split. Meaning if I have $1,000 per year premium, how much can I pay in total on any given year? If I'm committed to that, what will the company allow me to do? Any guesses? $10,000. 10x. That's the insurance company limit. Now the other limit I've got to be aware of here is our MEC limit, which has a direct relationship to the death benefit. That's the measuring stick the IRS will use to determine, is this policy life insurance or a pure taxable investment in their eyes. But if I wanted the minimum expenses with a $1,000 premium, I could literally set a policy up with a $10,000 MEC limit. And maybe I overinflate it a little bit if I want to fund for a long period of time. Now, a lot of education we've gone through several times in the past. The question is, how do I design a policy? Let's say I'm paying in $10,000 a year. Let's say it's $20,000 a year, because that's the example we're going to look at. So if I have a policy with a base premium of $2,000, a MEC limit of $20,000. It's going to be just over $20,000, between 20 and 21, and a PUA rider of $18,000. So I'm going to max fund this thing. Total of $20,000 a year going in, and that's a combination of your base premium and PUA rider. So if I'm paying in $20,000 a year, let's assume it's a traditional product. If I do this, I'm going to see an early break-even point. I'm going to have high upfront cash values. I'm going to cross over between years 4 to 6, actually between 3 to 5 in the example we're going to show you. But here's the main thing we want to touch on. With this policy, if life happens, I can fund it for 2 years. If life happens, I can fund it for 5 years. I can fund it for 10 years, 20, 30, or I can keep going. What we're going to look at here is the exact same policy that on day one, it is designed exactly the same for all of these scenarios. And we're going to stress test it, meaning as I pay money into it, do I have the same break-even point up front? Do I have the same MEC limit? And does a MEC ever occur based off of the guarantees and present dividend values? We're going to look at the midpoint values too. That's how we stress test a policy here. The whole point to this is really when you see the models, the question is, can I design a policy where I get my cash up front, meaning I can max fund, do that 1090 split, but then I have to stop after 5 or 7 years, right? No, we can design it where you can keep going. This way I can keep, call it feeding the beast, grow this cash value, grow this policy quickly and see great long-term cash values, and your death benefit from a legacy planning standpoint is going to be large as well. So we're going to go through that in detail in our next segment.